All right, welcome to the Bow Trader Podcast. Whether you're a long-time listener or joining us for the first time, man, I'm glad you're here. My name's John Keene, and I am the founder of Bow Trader, and we're just excited to be able to do this podcast and bring this to you on a weekly basis. You know, on the podcast, we're diving headfirst into the wild world of hunting and the great outdoors. We talk about all kind of different things, whether it's tracking and scouting tactics or just cutting up and telling silly tales and stories about things that we've gotten into when we've been out there trying to do some hunting. But we're always focused on the beauty of God's creation. From gear reviews and how to practice to finally making it to that awesome thwack of fall, buddy, we are here for it. Our faith is woven into every episode with real, down-to-earth discussions because it's not just about the hunt. It's truly about what matters most. So grab your gear, settle in, get you a cup of coffee, and let's get after it. You just talk. That's all it takes. Yep. As soon as I hit that button, Wes stops talking. Like if I don't want him to talk, all I got to do is hit that button.
Freezes up.
He just immediately stops. I mean, I tell him all the time, there's only going to be like one, maybe two people listen to this.
Yeah.
They
may think you're stupid, but that's all right.
I mean,
is one of the two views you like after to make sure it sounds good once it hits the...
No, I listen to it before it gets published.
Oh, okay.
Just to double check. But I listen to it on like 2X.
Get through it.
So I sound like a squirrel. I was like, man, I never knew my voice was that high. Anyway, all right. So we got a different group together for a podcast today. We got Dub sitting across the table up here. He may say something, he may not. Looks like we're leaning towards not at this point. And then we got Jackson from here in the shop. Jackson, tell everybody hey.
How's it going, guys?
There you go. That was close. I mean, I just said hey, but it's all right. And then I got an old voice that may be familiar to some of you guys. Griffin Hansen made the trip down from Augusta. Go ahead, Griffin.
What am I supposed to say? You got on to him for not saying exactly what you want. Hey,
that's perfect.
There we go.
Yeah, that's perfect. So Griffin was down in Statesboro today for a job fair. Is that what you're doing?
Career fair. Yeah.
Career fair. It's not a job.
It's a career.
It's a career. Going to start a career. Yep. Apparently we learned that referring to everyone as "what's up, Playboy" was not a very professional thing for somebody to do.
Yeah, I had to inform one of our employees that.
Yeah, so we don't know how it's going to work out for him.
One of your employees were saying that?
Yeah, that's how he was introducing. That's how he was saying hey to all of the fraternity brothers that he was meeting that day.
Oh.
There you go. So, you know, it could just be a brief stopping point in his career. More of a job, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit today about, this is something I've been wanting to talk about. So last year, not the 2024 season, but the 2023 season, we went on a travel hunt. And we've never really talked about that. And I want to talk about it today.
Oh, yeah.
Just the whole thing. Unfiltered.
Jackson's just gonna sit there like.
And Jackson,
I'm getting the stories today.
Yeah, you're gonna get the story today.
You get to
for
ask
sure.
us some of the questions to kind of make us elaborate a little bit more. So
Right, exactly.
I think this is the first time you're hearing some of them.
So we started out the trip at 4 a.m. in Statesboro. No, we're not going to go that detailed with it.
I mean, we could,
but we'd be here for hours.
We stopped in Atlanta.
I think a key point though is that I drove down, right? Yeah, so I drove
down from Augusta.
Yeah, down from Augusta.
Down to Statesboro.
Then we went back up to Illinois.
Yeah.
But anyways, drove down to Statesboro the night before and was shooting the bow at the shop and everything. And just like, I mean, I took a sip of water and my throat kind of tightened up a little bit. I was like, that's weird. That doesn't feel good.
Yep.
And so that night I was like, man, I need to sleep good. I'm real excited about this hunt and everything that's coming up. Even though we stayed up till like 11 a.m., like plotting.
E-scouting?
What's that? Yeah, we were scouting and like plotting where we were going to set up some stands and everything. And I was like, yeah, it's 11:30. I'll take some NyQuil. Took NyQuil to wake up at 3:30.
Yeah.
That was like the worst fever dream of my life, waking up and trying to take a shower that morning and coming off of that, getting in the truck.
Yeah. So The trip was off to a good start.
Yeah.
Something else happened. We left on a Saturday. That Friday, I cut my leg as well.
Oh, yeah.
And technically, the doctor said it needed stitches.
Gashed it
but
open.
because of where it was, right on my knee, they couldn't give me stitches because if I bend my knee, it just ripped all the stitches out.
Yeah, just rip it
make
back open. So
He's sitting in that saddle, real fun.
Yeah, he's got
The saddle wasn't that bad. The ride there was bad.
He's got a pretty rad scar at this point.
It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So anyway, the trip started out swimmingly.
Yeah.
It was great. And then, so we're pulling this huge trailer, and I had an F-150 at the time. And this is not a knock against F-150s, but they are not made for pulling stuff.
No.
Not a big enclosed trailer.
Not a big, we got this 21-foot enclosed trailer, 8-foot ceilings in it. And I mean, it's like
full.
It's got duck hunting stuff in it. It's got e-bikes in it. It's
grills.
got grills. I mean, everything. Because we were camping. The whole trip was a camping trip. So,
and we were going to Arkansas and then Illinois.
Excuse me. Yeah. So we went to Arkansas and then we went up to Illinois. And so we're basically stopping every 90 minutes to get gas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, none of the gas mileage.
It was drinking.
I think we got like
gas.
8 or 7.
It was bad. It was not good. It was not good.
It was not budgeted.
No. It was a nasty gas bill. But anyway, so we're stopping, like I said, literally every 90 minutes to get gas. I would pay more attention to the clock than I would to the fuel gauge because it would be lying. It would be like, it'd say, you've got another 200 miles. And then like 30 minutes later, it was like the fuel light was coming
all
on.
the way down.
Yeah, it was rough.
Sucking it down.
And like everywhere we stopped, everybody was getting out buying gas station food. And I'm like, guys, what is wrong with y'all? Why are you eating all this crap? There'll be more about that part of the story later.
I was going to say, I thought I heard a story.
Yeah, there'll be more about that later. So I'm like, no, we're going camping. I'm going to be really particular about what I put in my body because we're camping.
Meanwhile, I was like $2 corn dollars for $1.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah. Griffin's over there. He's buying. We stopped at one gas station in Alabama, truck stop, and he goes and grabs a couple corn dogs. And he's like, he saw one of the other guys with McDonald's. He's like,
it was the other way around. I had McDonald's at first, and then I saw that they had corn dogs. So while I was eating my biscuit, I decided to.
No, your McGriddle.
My McGriddle, I decided to get 2 more corn dogs.
Yeah, I mean,
along with it.
Why wouldn't you?
Might as well.
I mean, if you're going to go all the way. Fresh, never frozen, right? So anyway, so we go to Arkansas and we go on a goose hunt, and that was cool. And, Griffin was not able to go because his sickness.
It went downhill.
It went from 0 to 100, like, in front of us. We watched him.
It was bad. We were at dinner and you just saw Griffin starting declining. We were like, oh no.
Well, we stopped at the pyramid.
I thought I was going to pass out in the pyramid.
And we were walking around, grabbing some last minute things that we needed to get. There was rain in the forecast. So we all, grabbed some frog tog suits and stuff like that. And
did we use those?
I used mine.
I've never opened
I don't know.
Mine's still in the office. Never been used.
Still in the hunting box.
Yep.
So anyway, it was an exciting time, and Griffin was over there just like dying. And then we get to where we're staying in Arkansas, and we're eating supper, and the food comes out, and Griffin's just like, you know what, guys, I don't know, I'm not hungry. I'm just gonna go into bed. And I'm sitting there thinking, all right, we're in trouble.
I thought I was so hungry and everything, like all the cold medicine I'd been taking at that point to like suppress it. I guess it caught up to me. I was like, oh, I'm starving. I took one bite of that fry. I was like, I'm gonna throw up.
Yep.
I was like, I'm going back to and I was so excited for this trip. And like the thing is we're in one vehicle. I was like, we can't just turn around and go home or anything. So I didn't want to ruin the hunt for everyone, and I was feeling so bad to the point where I was like, I'm gonna have to like rent a car and drive back to Georgia. Like I feel so bad. I'm about to camp for 4 nights and everything.
Right.
There's no way.
Yeah. Yep. So we all eat our meal, and I kind of started talking to guys. I said, guys, listen, we kind of, all right, we started this trip together. We're going to finish it out because Griffin had already said something about, I might see if I can rent a car. I said, we're going to finish it out. Let's all go to bed. We'll get a good night's rest. We'll get up and hunt in the morning. We'll see if Griffin wants to go or not. He didn't go on the goose hunt. And we got back, and we were
very
outside.
Interesting goose hunt.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was the guy that we went with a guide up there, and he brought a dog with him that was a puppy, basically. I mean, maybe like a year old or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she was not very good. Like it was just normal.
You
puppy.
could tell the dog had potential to be very good.
Oh, I'm sure she's a great dog now, but
at the time
on that hunt, she kept going out of the blind, and I was sitting a pretty good ways down the blind. There was a couple more guys from New York in the blind with us, and they were next to me. So I'm like, there's 4 of us from our group in the blind, and then 2 guides and 2 guys from New York. So I'm between our group and the guys from New York. And I finally said, I was like, why in the heck did these birds keep flaring? And one of the guys looked down like this. He said, the dog keeps going out of the blind. And I looked down, the next group of birds that came in, and they flared. And I looked down, and sure enough, the dog was outside the blind running around. And I'm like, all right, dude, come on.
Put him on a lead.
Yeah, do something. Keep that dog in the blind so we can, we're here to kill birds,
we came here
right?
for,
yeah. Anyway, so we killed some birds, and we get back to the inn where we were staying, and we're outside in the parking lot cleaning geese. And I go in and check on Griffin. He's like trying to rent a car and all this stuff. I said, dude, you're not renting a car. You're not going anywhere. I said, if we'll just change our trip, and we'll stay right here in Arkansas. We'll do some more duck hunting.
Because we were at a hotel here, so you were relatively comfortable.
Right, yeah. So
it was nice.
This is the only night at a hotel.
It was nice too.
And I had checked with them, and the rooms were available. We could just extend our stay or whatever. And I know some other guides, and one of the guys that was with us knew of some other guides that we could go do some duck hunting with and stuff. So I mean, we were gonna completely change our trip up. Well, Griff, he got a hold of telehealth, and they called some meds in for him. And he said, no, I think I'm gonna be good. They called some meds in for me. Let's go over to the pharmacy and we'll get those, and let's, go on with our trip.
Man, and with calling that teledoc and everything, the first person that picked the phone, some like nerd of a doctor out of Georgia picked up the phone, and I was like, hey, I really need this. And he goes, no, I can't give you any of that stuff. Like, I'm not going to give you any prescription. You're going to have to go to a doctor. And it's a Sunday at this point, so nobody's open.
Right.
And I was like, man, come on. I'm in Arkansas. I'm out of town. And he's like, oh, you're in a different state? I can't do anything for you anyways. So I just hung up the phone on him. I was like, well, let me call back again and see if I can get like an Arkansas doctor. And the next guy that picked up was like a good old boy, like Southern accent and everything. And I was like, man, I'm on a hunting trip for the first time, like out of state. I've got to have something to get me through it. And he goes, well, you say your symptoms, like, man, it hasn't really been long enough for me to get anything. But if you've been coughing for more than 5 days, I can give you something. I've been hacking it up for the past 5 days. Like, yeah. And he's like, I got you a steroid and a Z-Pack, called in, go get it, and y'all have a good hunt and everything. So that was a blessing, being able to get that. And that steroid, I think, is about the only thing that kept me going the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. So we got the meds at the pharmacy, and then we started making our way towards Illinois. Southern Illinois, so it's not like we had to go way up into the state or anything. But there was more construction on that drive from Arkansas to Illinois than I've ever been through in my entire life.
They were rebuilding the interstate.
Yeah. I mean, so they had it where the north and southbound lanes were all on the southbound side of the interstate. It was a single lane that transferred over. So you've got
it just slowed everything down because it was like a 2-lane highway or a divided highway that was like a 1 lane at this point.
Right.
Shout out to Delta. That was our sister company building that stuff out there.
Oh, there you go. How about that? So yeah, that was awesome. And then we get to the campground that we're going to be staying at, and
this is at like 11 at night. I mean, it's pitch black.
It's dark. I mean, yeah, because we'd already gone to Walmart and bought our tags and stuff. So it was late. We pull up to the campground, and the gate's closed, and there's a sign hanging on the gate that says we'll reopen in spring.
Keep in mind, we'd already called the recreational area to the state park like before, and we were like, hey, this place is open, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah. And we're like, the whole park is open to hunt, right? And they were like, yeah. So we went up there. I mean, we had a good plan going into it.
Right.
But yeah, at 11:30 at night when it's pitch black and we're trying to figure out where we're going to stay. And I think we went to 2 different ones where we're like, well, there's another campsite right down this way. We went up to that one, same thing.
Yeah, it was
gate locked, closed, and everything.
And then we found another one that was like up next to a lake or something.
It was like in the wide open, man.
Yeah.
The wind was whipping bad there.
Yeah, we could get in there, but it wasn't like technically a campsite or whatever. And we finally found a campsite. And at some point on the trip, Griffin actually pulled up on X because we'd done a bunch of e-scouting, kind of plotting out where we were going to go. And then we had literally everywhere where we had dropped a pin now had red lines through it. So it was closed.
Yeah.
All the areas were completely closed because they did that special.
It was like a restricted area or something for a portion of the season.
Well, they had done that special youth hunt that weekend.
Yeah.
And so it closed after that special youth hunt. So everywhere where we had dropped pins was now,
back
closed
to square
area.
one.
Yeah.
Yep. Where are y'all at in Illinois?
We were close.
Crab Orchard was the name of the state park that we were hunting.
Yeah.
Crab Orchard. And so that's where all of it was a huge tract of land. It was like 40,000 acres of a state
42.
park. Yeah, like 42,000 acres of like a state park. But this restricted area, I mean, it cut it in half.
Right. Well, I think it was U.S. Fish and Game, wasn't it?
As far as state park or U.S., yeah, it was something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, the restricted area, they cut it practically in half, and every single pin, all the e-scouting we had done the whole time, all of it was
gone. I mean, every bit of it was gone. So we had to find the office the next morning. That Monday morning. And we went over to the office and they were like, yeah, you can still hunt, but you got to hunt this. And I said, listen, can somebody show me on a map where we can and cannot hunt? So they started showing it to us and everything. And we had to buy a vehicle pass and stuff like that. And so we got all that figured out. We finally found some spots to hunt. We met some really cool people while we were up there, and we're still really good friends with them even to today. And so we went that Monday. We
woke up kind of late and everything.
Well, because we knew we had to go to that office.
We were like, we're going to go to the office. We're already kind of busted about these spots. Like, let's wake up kind of late.
Yep.
Let's go get these tags. Let's do as much scouting as we can. We'll go eat a good meal, and then let's go sit in the stand the rest of the day.
Now, when he says go eat a good meal, again,
a great meal.
Again, these guys went absolutely out of control. We went to this diner. Mm-hmm. It's called the Country Cupboard.
Worth it. So good.
It was really good food. But it was
a
like
lot of food.
But the bad part was, everybody is eating with their eyes, and so I'm over there. I ordered scrambled eggs and bacon or something like that. I was very conservative still because we're still camping.
Yeah.
So I'm being careful about what I'm putting in my body. And they're ordering, and Griffin's like, dang, you can get biscuits and gravy added for 50 cents. So he did that, and she comes out with his food. It's like this huge plate of food, and then this giant plate of biscuits and gravy.
Definitely not a regular side portion.
No.
I think this is when it comes into play to put this in perspective. So we've drove out there. We've ate a lot of gas station food, and I've been taking cold medicine and now an antibiotic at this point, and it's got me a little stopped up.
Oh, he is completely shut down.
Yep.
His blood's moving real slow.
Nothing's moving. So I was like, I need to eat like a good meal that's gonna help get things moving.
Yep.
Sadly, it didn't, but
that did not work.
It didn't work, but I ate it all. I still ate it all.
Every bit, every drop.
That was scary.
Yeah, so I mentioned
that we were like, oh no.
I mentioned that we met some guys up there that we're still really good friends with now. So one of the guys that was with us was Billy G. Anybody that's come in the shop before, Billy G. I mean, we did a shirt with Billy G's face on it, or as a goat. But anyway, so Billy G is like, he always seems ready to fight. That's like one of his things.
His biggest dream. We were talking about it right before he left. His dream is just to get in a fight with somebody.
Yeah.
Win.
Yeah.
That's his goal in life.
Yeah, just for no reason.
For no reason, he just wants to knock somebody out.
So the night before, he was trying to buy his tag, was bank shut his card down because it's like a random
charge,
$400 charge.
Yeah, you're
in
at
Illinois.
this random Walmart in Illinois. You were just down in Arkansas,
right? Yeah, so they shut his card down, so he wasn't able to buy his tag. So I bought his tag that night, and so the next morning he's calling his bank. Monday morning he calls the bank, says, "Hey, I am traveling, unlock my card or whatever." So he's outside walking around the parking lot while we all go inside and sit down. Well, this guy comes walking in and finds us. He comes walking up to the table. He says, "Which one of you guys is John?" And I'm like, "Oh man, here we go." Billy G's out in the parking lot fighting somebody, and we're about to be out there. He said, and I said, "Yeah, that's me." And he said, "Well, won't you come out to the parking lot? Let me talk to you for a second." I'm like, "Oh man."
We all get up. We're like,
"Yeah." I said, "Guys, don't y'all sit here." So of course they sat there and we looked out the window while I go out there by myself.
I had to finish my biscuit, then I came out.
Right.
I came out there.
Our food hadn't even come out yet. Anyway, so we go out there and we talk to these guys, and they have a lodge up in Illinois, and we got to meet them and everything.
They like the e-bikes on the back of the truck.
Yeah, so we had all of our stuff on the truck at this point. We left the trailer back at the campsite. Had all of our stuff on the truck. So he saw it, and he's just like, "Man, these guys are legit. These guys are the real deal."
Mm-hmm.
He had not met us yet. So certainly once he met us, he realized that we had no idea what we were doing. But anyway, so we actually left from breakfast, and we went over and saw the lodge and kind of, saw their spot and everything. And
awesome barn dominium setup and everything.
Yeah, really cool stuff. I mean, really built around waterfowl hunting. Benji is the guy that owns that place. It's called BC Flats. And Benji's the guy that owns it, and he set it up to really guide waterfowl hunts. And they've started doing whitetail hunts, guided hunts. And so they wanted us to come and hunt on their place and everything. And we were like, "No, we can't pretty hunt public. We're going to go do that." So we went and hunted public that afternoon. And
they told us that they're like, "Y'all need anything while you're up here? You got a friend? Give us a call. We'll help you out with whatever we can help you out with."
Right. And usually, that's just people being nice, being hospitable or whatever. Yep. They didn't know that a few hours later I was going to be cashing in that favor. So we all went hunting that afternoon. We got in the woods about 1:00 or so, and we were going to hunt until dark. Wes killed a doe that afternoon, and we were just on a piece of this public land. We dropped two of the guys off at a spot.
The street, pretty much.
Yeah.
We were hunting around some, I think there were soybean fields.
Right.
I was on a soybean field.
We were on standing corn is where we were at. And so anyway, Wes killed a doe, and then it started raining. And I mean, to start with, it wasn't that bad.
Cool.
And then, man, it started coming down. So we all got soaked. We got down, got everybody picked up, and I called Benji and I said, "Hey, do you have anywhere where we could put our stuff to dry it out?" And he's like, "Yeah, come on over." So we went over to the shop.
Keep in mind, we are still at this point. We have camp set up and everything, but some people are camping, somebody's tent camping and everything.
Yeah.
So like we're camping. We don't have any, and we're out in the open. There's no way to dry this stuff before our next hunt the next morning.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. So we went over there, and he's got like these infrared heaters up in the ceiling. So he has an earth moving business. Excuse me. And so they'll bring their equipment in to work on it. Well, it gets a lot colder up there than it does here.
Yep.
Here we would have AC units in the shop or fans or something, but up there he had these heaters. So he laid these big tables out, and we put all of our stuff out, and he turned the heaters on, and all of our stuff was drying out. And we left and went and grabbed something to eat and came back, and everything was mostly still soaking wet.
That night, did we go get Chili's that night?
We went and got Chili's that night. Yep.
I've never had a better Chili's experience because we were so cold and wet and tired.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yep. And Griffin, had a moment where he thought he was going to have the time of his life.
I mean, I got the triple dipper with every fried piece of food you could put on it to try and get things going.
And lots of sauce and ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Didn't work. So then, got him. So then we we hunted the next day, went to a completely different part of the property, found what I think was the best spot that we hunted. Griffin was successful that morning.
Yeah. So I think, like, honestly, so at this point, we've been up in Illinois. We don't really know what we're doing. We're asking anybody for any kind of advice that we talk to as far as the public land goes. We talked to Benji a little bit. I remember we had to go into a Dick's that night to go get another sleeping bag for Billy G because his rain flap did not stay on his,
Yeah, he said when he got up that morning, he tripped on his little tie down rope on his rain flap. Didn't think anything of it. He was like, "Oh, whatever."
Yeah,
we got back to camp and his Eno and everything in it was full of water.
Yeah.
I mean, because it rained a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like a storm came through.
Yeah. So he was like, "I got to get another sleeping bag." So while our stuff's drying over at Benji's, we went and got some food and we went up to Dick's. And I remember literally asking the guy there at Dick's who had done some deer hunting up there, and I was like, "Hey man, like, what's kind of the trick to like the public stuff? Like, do you have any like advice? Have you ever hunted this area?" And he's like, "Well, what I'm going to tell you is," so we went up the weekend after the shotgun and rifle season had kind of happened.
Shotgun.
It's just shotgun. Yeah, they don't have rifle season. So, like, and any of the local residents, they all can get a local tag pretty easily and everything. And he goes, and there's not a lot, like all the serious hunters, they're hunting archery, they're hunting kind of season round and everything. But he's like, everyone that just wants to shoot anything comes out that shotgun season. And like, so everyone and their mom are in the woods, come that weekend. And he said, that was just what was before y'all. And he's like, pretty much these people, they're not serious hunters. They're pretty much setting up on the road. They're walking like 15 yards into the woods and they're shooting whatever they see. He's like, if y'all want to shoot something, y'all are gonna have to hike.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, y'all are probably gonna need to get off the road and hike in as deep as you can to these spots that just your average person that wants to go out there and shoot a deer that weekend isn't gonna hike down into. So,
which is where all of our pins are, all of our original pins.
They were,
dude.
Yeah.
They were like they were so deep in there. I mean,
Yeah.
we had spent so much time,
around fields, looking at
finding
pinch
stuff.
points.
Yeah. But it just didn't work out.
And one thing that I was not prepared for Illinois was like in southern Illinois is the elevation changes that happen. So, I mean, it is some thick rolling hills through there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hiking down into valleys. And next thing you're hiking up this giant hill and everything. I mean, it was super hilly. So, I mean, that next morning, what we kind of did was we loaded up. And I remember, what was it? It was something Falls Road. It was some road that Benji had kind of suggested. He's like, "Hey, this road kind of backs up to one of my properties and everything. Like, it's a pretty good road, but it's really hilly, and you really got to like walk down." So that's what we did. We literally rode that road that morning, and pretty much like every half a mile apart, we just dropped someone and we said, walk as far as you can into the woods so you run out of breath, and then find a tree and climb up it and everything. And that's kind of what we did that morning.
Yep. So, and we were sitting out there. It was like 11:30 that morning. Good grief. It was like 11:30 that morning, and some of the guys were like, "All right, y'all about ready to call it." It was windy. I mean, it wasn't cold.
Great. Yeah, it wasn't great conditions.
So we're all texting back and forth, and I'm sitting over there trying to sleep. I'm like, "Guys,
you
listen,
take a nap, and you'll be good."
I said, "Y'all just take a nap, and just right there in the tree, just lay up against the tree, and then we'll, this is the time we need to be in the woods." So it was banter going back and forth for a few minutes, normal guy stuff, you're a sissy, stuff like that. And Griffin just goes silent.
Completely.
For like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
There's nothing from Griffin.
My phone's just buzz, like in my pocket.
And then all of a sudden he comes back on. He's like, "All right, who's going to come over here and help me with this deer?" We're like, "What the heck?" I said, you didn't kill anything. He's like,
"No, he sent us a video. This buck, like 60 yards from him, just in the dirt, just like this."
Yeah. So sure enough, he got one. So we got down, and me and Wes, we were over a mile from the truck. I was driving, so we were the last ones out of the truck. So we were over a mile from the truck, and didn't really know exactly where Griffin was. So I told him to drop us a pin, and we worked our way over there to him. And, so I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah,
we got it done. Right. Mm-hmm. And that was really the only one that we got that, the only meat that we carried home off of that trip. Because remember, it rained really hard. So the doe that Wes shot, we couldn't find.
There wasn't a blood trail worth anything.
Dude,
it was pouring rain. But yeah, that spot that I shot that buck at, it like I said, rolling hills and everything walking in there. So that morning it dropped off from the truck and I'm walking in the woods as deep as I can. Keep in mind, like, I'm still feeling like crap. Like the steroids kind of kicking in.
Right.
Like I can't breathe worth anything. And I mean, I walk into the point where I'm like, I'm about to have to sit down. Like my lungs are hurting and everything. But I was like, all right, I think I found a tree. For some reason, picked the biggest tree I could have found. I mean, I barely could throw my rope around the tree to tie my steps on and everything. But I remember I started climbing that thing. I got halfway up and I had to take a break. Like I had to sit there. Like I was so tired from climbing it and everything. But got set up, and I mean, it was pretty cool. I overlooked like this really good bottom. I kind of got right above the canopy and everything, so I had some really good sight distance. But yeah, like John said, it was kind of dead the whole morning.
Just wind blowing and stuff. It was
wind blowing, and most of the day, like the past 2 nights when we were driving around, the deer were super nocturnal. I mean, they were out at night. Like we saw them like crazy at night in the roads and everything. So like the early morning, late afternoons, they weren't really moving around, but we knew like around that lunchtime, they were still possibly going to be moving around at that point. So like I said, I walked as far as I could from the road, but I could still relatively hear, it wasn't a busy road, but I could hear a car come by every once in a while. And I'm sitting up there, and like we said, we're going back and forth in the group message and everything, and I hear a car lock up its brakes. I was like, that's weird. I bet you a deer ran across the road up that way, and they almost hit a deer. And so sure enough, I busted out your handy-dandy little bleat call, and I just hit that
little
thing.
doe can.
Yeah, the little doe can.
I've had some luck with those things.
Yeah, little doe can. I mean, I really haven't had a ton of luck in Georgia with it, but I mean, I've seen it's worked a little bit and everything, but when I say I hit that thing twice, and sure enough, I see this set of antlers coming through me like a on a line to me. So and I'm shaking at this point. I hadn't seen deer this whole time. I'd kind of written it off. I was like, man, we're on this public land. We've been skunked these past 2 days and everything. I kind of written off like it was a fun trip and everything, but I don't think we're going to see a deer.
Right.
But this guy's coming up to me now, and I'm shaking, and I've got my dang rangefinder. I accidentally, I got nervous, and I zipped it up too tight up against my chest, and I couldn't reach my eye with it, so I'm like trying to pull it off over my head. I mean, I'm making so much noise, and I was like, I can't believe I actually shot this deer. But I guess that was just the time. Like, I mean, they were still kind of in the rut when we were up there. It was a little on the later part of it, but I mean, they were still in the rut. So, I mean, dumb blind buck, all he's thinking about is chasing that tail, and he heard that noise and he was coming to it. So he got I actually drew on him twice. He was at like 40 yards on me, and I drew on him, but I didn't really like the shot. I was like, man, I know I'm only going to get one chance at this, and I think he's going to come in a little bit closer. So I managed to let it down, and I had my radius of trees that I had ranged out, and I was like, he stepped inside my 20-yard pin radius. Like, I'm a smoke him right here. And sure enough, he made a perfect turn broadside, and we let that RX-5 eat.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I shot it, and I mean, he didn't go 15 yards, fell over, and I saw him kick the legs and everything. I was like, I mean, I'm not even gonna have to track him. I saw him go down right here. Like, there's one sense of like when you shoot a deer and you're like excited, but you still kind of are nervous. You're like, am I gonna be able to track this? Am I gonna find him or anything?
Right.
But to shoot him and see that arrow go through and then see him fall not but 15, 20 yards from it, like, I mean, I was ecstatic. I was like, is he? I didn't have to do the is he down. I knew he was down. Yeah. I remember I remember I was up in the stand. I called my dad like while I was still up in the stand. I was like, he's down. I got one down in front of me. My dad's like yelling on the phone like all the way back in Georgia, excited that I got one. But yeah, I then at that point just texting the group message. I was like, Buck, And they were like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "I need someone to help come clean this buck. Like I got one down." They didn't believe that I even seen anything.
Yep. But anyway,
sounds like deer up there work how deer are supposed to work.
Yeah,
they respond to calling and stuff a whole lot better.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've learned up there. Like especially like rattling antlers.
Yep,
they respond really well to that. So that's a cool part that we've learned with going up there and hunting. And like down here, I never hunt on a field. Like I never go on a field edge. But up there,
the thickest stuff you can find.
Yeah, but up there, like it makes sense to do that if you're in the right
along
spot.
The edge. Yeah.
Well, especially after this year, I know you and Brandon did a podcast on it after the hurricane. The weird way the deer were moving.
Oh yeah,
it's a whole different.
Yeah, it was a different concept for sure. But anyway, that night, cooking that back strap up. I don't know if
we were just starving or if it was the best backstrap we'd ever had. Like
it was a big backstrap. Dude. It was a big deer.
Yeah, it was a big deer. Yeah, it was good.
What was he, a 6 point? He didn't have brow tines?
Yeah, I mean, so I didn't see when I was so excited to see a buck when he came up, and I just saw the mass on him in the spread on him, so I was like, oh, it's a shooter and everything. And I thought just like through what were those things called? The spiky.
I have no idea.
There was like this.
They were terrible.
Yeah, it was. They grew up like a weed or whatnot. It was like a plant that grew straight up like a piece of bamboo almost. And
it was like spiky bamboo.
Yeah, but it grew up about chest height up there, and that stuff would tear you up. But honestly, when you got on the ground, your visibility was really hard to see like much further in front of you because they're everywhere. And so I didn't know when I saw him coming through the thick, I was like, he's a shooter and everything. And obviously, I was still happy with the size of the deer. But yeah, if he had his brow tines, it would have been a stud of an 8 point. But yeah, I got up to him. I was like, what the heck? He's missing these brow tines, but we'll take it. A public land hunt on your awesome. First year, it's still, I was still ecstatic for it.
Yeah, I saw a picture of that. That was a good deer.
Yeah, I mean, learn how to hold them right, too, and the right angle on it. People were like, oh, that thing's massive.
You can fool them with a good picture.
Yeah, it was a good picture.
That's right. So,
did you ever score him?
No, we never scored. So
those back straps were 100.
Yeah, the back straps were 100.
Very good.
So the funny thing is, we roll around that night, and I was like, well, obviously, I'm not going to pay the money to get this head mounted and everything. I just want a cool Euro mount from it. But the problem is up there, they're really strict about when you come across state lines coming back in.
Well, anywhere. I mean, even
anywhere.
in Georgia, they'll go crazy about
it. They're just really strict about crossing state lines with that deer, any kind of brain matter and stuff. So we're sitting there, and we're like, well, we've always just bulled the head and everything. Like that's how we get it clean. But we didn't have a pot or anything, so we went to Tractor Supply and bought.
It was Rural King. That's where we went. That was the name of the place. Rural King.
Yeah,
we got like this galvanized bucket, and then we took it and
put it over the campsite.
Put it over the campsite, the little fire pit,
the like grill they had over the
and boiled that thing.
Didn't work great. I mean, it got a lot of the meat off of the face and everything.
I'd already cleaned it up and got the eyeballs out and all that kind of stuff. And then the next morning,
we had called Westchester. That's who we called.
Yeah,
we were like, "Hey, what do you do?" And he goes, "I'm gonna tell you what you do. You find yourself the cheapest car wash you can find that's still got the pressure washer hands, and you go clean the brains out of that thing."
Dude, we did. I pulled my truck into the bay. Mm-hmm. And just set the head down right there in the
behind
car wash
tailgate,
bay.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it was in front of the truck.
Oh yeah,
and there was stuff flying all over the
brains and everything.
So nasty. Oh my gosh! I was like, man, if that guy.
Yeah, we were like, don't let an employee walk over here. We tried to clean up the best we could after.
Yeah,
smelling for days.
Nah, it wasn't that bad.
We boiled it clean. It was all cooked at this point.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of fat.
No.
But yeah, we got it cleaned up, and then we got out of there, started heading back home. So we had kind of planned on maybe trying to hunt that morning, but I was like,
we were so tired after I'll tell you what though, I slept like a baby at that campsite.
Oh yeah, it was.
You had a little tent mansion. He had a nightstand. He brought nightstand, and then a framed picture.
Nah, I didn't have the framed picture.
He had a framed picture.
Yeah,
it was of Kirby Smart.
Nightlight.
We weren't having a pack light, and I was like, "Are we needing a pack light tight or anything?" He's like, "No, I'm bringing the trailer." I was like, "Y'all can sleep in Enos, but if we're taking a trailer, I'm bringing a tent."
Logan actually ended up sleeping in the trailer because his
stuff was so wet and everything.
Billy G.
But I mean, I brought a tent. I had a cot. I slept like a baby.
Had a lamp.
I had a little lamp. Yeah, I had a little nightstand in there.
Dude, I slept great in that Eno.
All I remember is one night, though. It was the first night we woke up to go, like the first night we camped there to go hunt. I woke up at like 4 o'clock, couldn't breathe worth anything. I'll tell you one thing. Those showers got blazing hot.
Yeah,
I literally at like 3 a.m. in the morning, I was like, I can't breathe. I need like steam on my face and everything. And I didn't sit. That the showers were kind of gross. You wanted to make sure you weren't touching the walls or anything. But
I wore my Crocs in the shower.
Yeah, but I stood in in that shower for like an hour till like 4 a.m.
Yeah, that was like our last stop at the Walmart when we bought our tags. I asked everybody if they had some shower shoes, and they were like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Guys,
you haven't seen.
You gotta have. You got don't step on the floor in these showers."
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we had to buy like a pair of pink flip flops for me or two of the guys.
Yeah. It was pretty comical. We should have gotten a picture of that, but we didn't. But anyway, so we start making our way home, and Thanksgiving. So this is Tuesday, right?
Yeah,
Tuesday.
Yeah, or Wednesday. No, we're heading home.
We're headed home on Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Wednesday.
You killed on
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah. So we hunted more on Tuesday, all day Tuesday, basically. Nobody else got anything. Nobody else saw anything, to get a shot on. And we headed back home Wednesday morning. The whole trip, I'd done so good. I'm like, guys, y'all are idiots. I can't believe y'all are eating this food.
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff.
Forgot about this.
I gave in to peer pressure, Jackson. It was terrible.
What'd you have?
We stopped at a Buc-ee's.
It was worth it.
I tell you, a Buc-ee's burrito,
so good.
100.
No,
it's a steak and cheese burrito.
Southwest chicken burrito.
I'm getting sick just y'all talking about it.
Yummy.
I got so sick when I ate this thing.
He took 2 bites of it.
Yeah, I didn't even eat the whole thing. I ate a little bit of it, and I was like, nah, I don't think this is a good idea.
Irvin, you had 2, right?
Yeah, he ate 2 of them and some of the freaking chips that you can buy. I mean, he's just over there like pouring sauce on top of it and just eating it. Like
at this point, still haven't had anything.
I mean,
happen.
he's casting a brick in his colon on this whole trip, and he's over there eating this food. And so we're at this Buc-ee's in northern Alabama, Athens, Alabama, I think is where it was at.
Yeah,
and so I kind of ate a little bit of it, and I was like, I think I'm good. I don't need anything to eat. I bet you we didn't get an hour down the road.
All of a sudden, I feel the truck lock up. I was like halfway in and out of sleep, and I feel this truck lock up on an on ramp or like an exit ramp or something.
No, we weren't even on. Yeah, we were on a 2-lane road, cutting our way through. We were on a 2-lane road, and I saw an opportunity to stop. Dude, there's probably a trail cam picture of me somewhere.
All I remember is this guy
middle of the woods
stopping, and I see him running towards the woods, but then I see him running back up towards the truck with the biggest panic I've ever seen in a man's eyes. And I roll down the window. He goes, "Where are the dude wipes?"
Yeah,
throw a roll of toilet paper to him, and then he's
I disappear into the night.
He disappears for like 2 minutes. He comes back.
The biggest sigh of relief.
Yeah, I come back. I said, boys, I'm glad I didn't eat that whole burrito because that would have been bad.
There might have been multiple stops if you ate that whole thing.
Oh, my gosh. No, there was more stops, trust me. But anyway, so we made our way home. I think we wound up getting home at like 4 a.m. or something like that.
It was 2, and then
I got home at 4 because I turned around and just got in the truck and drove back to Augusta.
Yeah, because we got home 2 a.m. Thanksgiving morning. You had to drive to Augusta. Billy G and Dawson drove to...
Billy G drove to Moultrie.
And then
Dawson drove to Colquitt.
Dawson drove to Valdosta.
Yeah.
And duck hunted that morning.
Yeah.
He said he didn't sleep.
Yep. Yeah, because they do...
And I'm at a Thanksgiving nap. Like,
they do a duck hunt every Thanksgiving morning, so he didn't think he was going to make it for it, but we wound up making it back.
Yeah, he did.
So, but anyway, yeah, that's what our first out of state hunting experience was like
for deer.
Sounds like quite the experience.
It was one for the record books for sure.
We were talking about a trip of like flying by the seat of your pants. I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah.
We had no clue what we were doing, no clue what we were walking into. all the plans that we thought we had planned just thrown out the window right when we got up there. But I mean, we made it happen.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun though. I mean, we learned a lot. You know, we've like I said, we've gotten to be really good friends with Benji. We went up there this past season and hunted on his place.
We did learn we went way too early this past season.
Yep.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we went the first week of November, and we just did not hit it. I mean, it just wasn't happening.
Hot. Way too hot.
It was
yeah.
hot.
and
The
very,
rut
very
really
windy.
hadn't started at
Yep,
all.
yep.
So they weren't responding to anything. So we're still learning it. We're still learning it.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good time. I mean, it's always fun to go hang out with Benji and Brent. So we enjoyed that, and I would encourage people to go and do it. So we tell this story because, you know, we want to share our experience. We want to laugh at ourselves, you know, because we made some mistakes. We put in all this effort and called and, you know, to try to make sure that the spots we were going to be going to were what we thought they were and all this kind of stuff. And just wound up with some bad intel going into it. But we still found a way to make it a good trip. Like, we still had a lot of fun. We got some really cool stories out of it. We got some meat out of the deal, you know, and
Got some antlers.
got some antlers. That was cool too. And but anyway, I would encourage you that if you've been thinking about going out of state and doing some hunting, just do it.
Yeah, it's not as intimidating as you think it would be. Because I think that's where I was before. I was like, man, that's so intimidating to like just drive and go out of state. Just try it. I mean, the game wardens are there to help you. Call up there because I actually had to call them about some licensing issues that I had when I went to repurchase my license. And I mean, they were helpful and everything. I mean, that's what they're there for. They're not only there to give you tickets; they are there to help you out and everything. So call the local areas that you're going to and ask them, hey, what do I need to do license wise? Where can I buy these licenses? Like, what does it look like? And they're gonna help you out.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Do it.
Yeah, I say do it. If you didn't hear anything else out of this story, I say do it.
Go to Illinois.
Yeah, go to Illinois, go to Kentucky, go to Nebraska, go to Iowa, go wherever you want to go.
There's a lot of public land.
Yeah, I mean, there's more public land in the United States.
That's one thing you'll learn is, sadly, I don't think Georgia really takes advantage of the public land. I don't think we have. We do have public land, but it's nothing like what I've noticed when we go out of state. I mean, they just have.
No, there was like standing corn and like nice food plots, and it's well managed.
Everyone around Georgia, like, you're having to manage. You're in a hunting club and everything. That's how you're hunting like these nicer, bigger tracts of land. But up there, their nice big tracts of land are public land.
And I'd say this though. I'd add this kind of caveat to it. If you don't have time, get a guide.
Yes.
And do your due diligence when you're finding that guide. You know, get some references about him and everything, and find you a guide to go with that can put you on some spots to do some hunting. If you got time, you know, and I think, you know, for us, like, just going up there, I mean, you can get there in a day. But if we were going to go to Colorado on an elk hunt or something, I just don't know that I'd want to do that my first go around without a guide.
Yeah.
You know, without some kind of boots on the ground, you know. I wouldn't trust myself enough to go out there and elk hunt, number one, because I've never done it before and I don't know anything about it. You know, a whitetail's a whitetail. I mean, I feel like we can go almost anywhere where whitetail are and figure out how to hunt them. You know, because that's what all of us sitting here, that's what we've spent our lives doing as far as a hunting standpoint, is going after whitetail. And
whitetails and turkeys.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much going to respond, you know, in a pretty similar way. Maybe not exactly the same way, but I say go do it and build stories that you'll never forget, because that's what we got out of the trip. We still give each other a hard time about it. Every time I go on a trip traveling somewhere, everybody wants to know if I went to Buc-ee's. The answer is always no.
What is it? Steak and egg burrito? Is that what it was?
It's steak, cheese, and peppers. Awesome.
I passed through or passed by Buc-ee's. I'm going to Tennessee this weekend. I might have to try it out.
Yeah,
I may regret
the
it.
Southwest chicken burrito. I mean, can't beat it.
You can beat it. You can definitely beat
Definitely
it.
better out there.
John did not beat it. It beat him.
It whipped.
Very, very much.
It whipped me. It was just so bad.
It whipped him like Philadelphia whipped Kansas City on Sunday.
It might have been worse. I definitely scored no points in that game.
You got blown out.
Oh man. Anyway, but that's it. We just wanted to talk about that. We'll post up some pictures from that exciting excursion whenever we drop this podcast episode. But anyway, thanks for listening, Griffin. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
And Jackson, thanks for being here, asking some questions and laughing at us.
Yep.
And don't worry, you'll get your chance.
I hope so.
Yeah, you'll get your chance where we'll be able to have some stories about you that are mildly incriminating at some point. All right, we gone. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today. I hope you enjoyed listening. Hey, reach out to us and let us know what you want to hear about. Join the conversation online. Hop over on your favorite social channel and give us some comments. Shoot us an email. You can email us at podcast@bowtreader.com. That's BOWTREADER.com. We'd love to hear from you. Love to hear about maybe if you want to come join us on the podcast or any kind of topics that you want us to cover, regardless of what it is. If it's hunting related, something that's specific to bows or arrows, new gear, old gear, if you got any kind of spiritual questions, anything about your faith that you're interested in, reach out to us and let us know. We'd love to cover it for you. And thank you again so much for listening. God bless you.